Hi, friends, and welcome back to the Wellness Junction podcast. I am your host, Jordana, and I am so glad you're here because we are continuing with our new series, The Quarter Life Chronicles. This one is for anyone who is in the middle of figuring it out, from navigating career changes, shifting identities, figuring out friendships, the occasional existential dread, and that weird pressure to have it all figured out by 25. What even is that? We're talking transitions, the good, the hard, and how all of it sometimes messes and stretches our mental health, but eventually strengthens us and builds resilience within us. So if you've ever felt lost or behind or like you're rebuilding yourself from scratch, you, my friend, are not alone. This series is for you, so let's figure it out one conversation at a time. On today's episode, I have a chat with George Onyango. This was such a validating and a deeply enlightening conversation. We speak about the transitions that we experience in our careers. I really loved hearing from George, and the whole time I just kept thinking, George is so wise in the way that he speaks, and he was very compassionate in just what he was sharing with us. He shares with us an incredible story from his a time in his workplace, and it blew my mind, honestly. So thank you so much for being here. Really, let's just get into it and speak with George Onyango. Yeah. First of all, thank you so much for saying yes to be on the podcast. I don't take that lightly. George Onyango, welcome to the Wellness Junction podcast. It is such an honor to have you speak with us on the podcast today.
Thank you.
Okay, so as we get started, we'll just start with get to know you, just to, get more information about who George Onyango is for people who are listening who have not interacted with you before. I have a challenge for you when you introduce yourself. I would like for you in 5 words or less to introduce yourself, but the catch is you can't mention your job or what you do for work, or roles that you play in life. For example, like father, husband, brother, friend, those sorts of things. So things about you that have nothing to do with your job, or like not mentioning the role that you play specifically in 5 words or less.
That's a really difficult challenge. I'm a human being.
Okay.
I love myself. I love the people around me. Yes.
You're a human being and you
Yes,
love
it's
yourself
fine.
and the people around you.
Yes.
Okay, interesting start. If you asked me the same, I think I would probably just say I love moon gazing. It's one of the things that makes me really happy. From where I'm seated, there's a window just next to where I'm seated, and from a window I can often see the moon, especially when it's setting. Like right now, the moon is waxing, so like the crescent when it's setting, I can see it right from my window. It's one of the things that's making me really happy in this season of my life.
Wow. So do you know about lunar cycles and how the moon affects our moods, our thinking, our...
I wish. It's something that I'm interested to learn to learn as I move through life. But for now, I think it's just gazing at the moon. Essentially, I know a bit about lunar cycles, most of what we learned in primary school, but not that much. But yeah, I have basic information essentially.
Okay.
So today we want to have a conversation on transitions that we experience in our professional life. And because I restricted you from introducing yourself by telling us what you do, could you tell us a bit more about what you do right now, but also just your journey throughout your professional life? Where did you start? How has it looked like? And now where are you?
Everyone starts life when they are very young. One of them. I believe it is everyone. But
Yeah.
sometimes all of us do not get to where I am today in terms of age, chronological age, and any other ages that you can speak about. So as I grew up, I wanted to be a professor in the university, but also I wanted to be a preacher.
Wow. I would not see that coming for sure.
Yeah, so I wanted to combine the two because I used to see around me preachers who are also professors. So that is what I wanted to be, because I wanted to share knowledge, but also I wanted to just book knowledge and also knowledge for spirituality. Where did I start? I went to school. I studied something that I thought I wasn't meant to study because of that desire to become a priest and also to become a professor. So I studied business management, marketing option, because it was during a time when your name started with an O, you didn't have many choices. I tried to change the courses in the university, but that was not possible because of what I've just mentioned. I decided to run the race and finish it. So after that, I found a chance because my heart was always in the community work. I found a chance to volunteer with an organization run by Catholic sisters called Franciscan Sisters of St. Anne. Their main house is in Kenya. So they were running an organization called CCFMC. In full, it was Comprehensive Charism on Franciscan. Comprehensive course on Franciscan Charism. Although I didn't want to be a Franciscan initially, I wanted to be a Jesuit or a Dominican.
Let me tell us about what are
those religious orders within the Catholic Church that have different missions and different charisms. And because of my earlier desire to become a professor, it is those two orders that have produced the greatest literature. They started the oldest universities in the world. So I wanted to be there, though I found myself in the Franciscan charism. So I volunteered for some time and I was working with young people. Actually, this is where I met someone who I work with currently now. They are called Patrick Mbulo. Yeah. So, yeah, I started there. Then I was just volunteering. Then became a program. I was working with girls, young girls who had dropped out of school because of motherhood and planned motherhood. I supported them. I started a program on catering, food and beverage, and I ran that for some time. Then after that, I went back to school and studied more areas where I thought I wanted to study. Yeah. Then soon after, in between my studies, I got a chance to work also still with the church, but now not stars, but with the Catholic Archdiocese of Sumu. So there I was running programs. Certain programs that were covering governance, health care. So I was supporting mission hospitals and other hospitals to get funding, but also as a manager at the diocesan level to create systems so that they are able to deliver better quality services. In between there, I think just out of passion, doing things here and there, I found myself interested in expanding opportunities for economic development of parishioners and also the people that I was engaging. So I involved myself in a project that became a microfinance of the Catholic Archdiocese of Kisumu. I saw a chance to create the first Luo bank, but also the first bank that was run from this part of the country. One, as part of going against the stereotyping that this part of the country, people are not business-oriented. I thought that was a chance to share the many possibilities that I was seeing among the people that I was interacting with. I was seeing people who were adept at businesses. And I also realized through one of the surveys that I did too that really there was big money. This money was not harnessed, especially from structures that were run by people who came from around. Yeah, so I think in a short 5-6 years, I was a volunteer. I was a project manager, then director of social services. Then I was a director of a microfinance. in that short time.
Wow.
Yes. I don't know whether I should continue. How then it
Yeah,
went.
yeah, how it went up to where you are now currently and what you are now doing.
Yeah, so after that, of course, sometimes things don't work. Sometimes you have a vision. Some visions are not shared by everyone. So it happened that the type of vision I had was a little bit incongruent with some systems, and systems have a way of overriding what individuals think, which is a good thing. Yeah, but also sometimes it has its own challenges because then it is individuals who have visions and can drive them to where they ought to be. So therefore, I found myself actually this was a tour in my career and also in my personal life. I found myself doing politics, corporate politics, and through the corporate politics, someone was targeting me. I went into the national papers as someone who should not be. How do they announce them? They put your photo there and they say, do not engage with this person. You engage with this person
Oh my
at
goodness.
your own risk. Yes. Yes.
Whoa.
And it is because I think I later learned it was a targeted because one of the reasons I was at loggerheads with this person who was brought in particularly to deal with me was, for example, this is a microfinance bank. Offices are near they say the East African largest open air market by then, that is Kibuye. So we have, my clients are Mama Mboga. So I find Mama Mboga being quarreled and being shouted at in the banking hall that they have come in with slippers and they are throwing mud all over the floor. And I came down running and was like, what's happening at the banking hall? Then I met this guy. He's older. I was an older guy. He's older than me. And he came from corporate banking. I was looking at my perspective was this is a micro bank. This is the people I'm dealing with. People who do not wear shoes, people who do not. Some of them will come barefooted. Some of them will come without suits. Some of them will come just as dirty as they are from the market. So for me, this was like, no, you can't do that. This is a microfinance bank, and these are the owners of the bank. You can't send them away because they don't have shoes.
Yeah.
To me, that was a very colonial way at clients, because I know in my training that is what I was also told, but I didn't agree with it. Yeah, at one time there was one business person who was very prolific. He was making big jikos for schools, we call them, yeah. So this guy who would come to the banking hall and withdraw even 10 times in a day. So apparently this person who was hovering around me was like, no, there must be a deal that George has with this guy. For me, it was like, no, how, if somebody wants to withdraw, how many times they want, that is their money. And that is how we make money as a bank.
Yeah.
It shouldn't worry us unless, but for him, it was like these two instances were instances where he thought that I was not professional. He thought that I was colluding with people to eat money. And this is money that I brought. I personally mobilized young people and my friends to write up a concept to World Bank. It was a worldwide challenge, a World Bank challenge that was giving people money to improve livelihoods, especially for widows and persons living with HIV. So I led a team which wrote this and we got some good money on that challenge. We were actually top in the world.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was good money. But the system didn't want to release the money. So the system kept holding the money in a dollar account, speculating. At that time, Kenyan shilling was doing very bad. The system was holding onto this money for some time. I regret having written a report that didn't actually portray the reality, like the first report, because that was the only way I was going to be able to protect the money that came and also protect the interest of the people that I meant the money for. Yeah, I left it. I almost went into depression. Yeah, because this was my child. And how did this child survive? I went to World Bank. Apparently, I had got some good rapport with the country director by then. He was a Ghanaian. It's called Mackenzie. So we had become friends. So I would confide in him on the challenges that I was facing. And I told them to, from their end, to tighten that account so that it wouldn't be misused, because I didn't have the powers against the systems. But because the money belonged to the World Bank, they were able to do that.
I see.
So when I visited World Bank, they asked me, "Do you want this thing closed?" Then out of some mysterious way, I think I met someone there. It's a long story, but I met someone who was supposedly in front of me to meet the World Bank director. And he asked me, if you had 3 children and one of them was very difficult, what would you do with them? They threatened to kill you. Would you kill them because they will kill you? And I was like, no, I wouldn't. I would just let them be. Then instead of him going ahead of me, he asked me to go first. So when I got in, and Mackenzie asked me, "What do you want? Do you have a decision?" Because we had already been speaking on Skype and on phone. Zoom was not yet born then. So then immediately he asked me, it occurred to me that this old man I just met at the reception could be talking about this microfinance. Yes, because I had gone there ready to let it go down. I was ready there to kill it, because if it was not going to go to widows and orphans, then I would rather it went back to where it came from. Because the ideas around it were crazy. People wanted to grab that money. People wanted to build a university using that money. That is not what we meant it for. Yeah. But this struck me like, maybe perhaps that is what this Zay was talking to me about. So I asked for some time to reflect. So I did make a decision then. Then I was like, I just opened up to tell Mackenzie that there's someone who I just met here and they were on queue to meet you. Then he tells me, no, there was no one who was on queue to meet you. No, I've met an old Mzee, he's a Muslim, and we spoke a little, he's from Garbatula. I was like, no, there's no one in my diary. So he called his secretary into the office and asked, did you have someone in my diary? The secretary, no, I've not seen someone in there. Ooh. I left there I did not, because I'm the only one who saw this guy.
Oh my goodness.
I don't know. I've never found an explanation. I don't know what happened. But then the next day I came and I said, can you allow this to run? But because the option was to kill it by recalling all the money that had been used. And I knew the church was not going, though the church could avoid, but I thought that was still going to be unfair for the parishioners who give the church money. As I told them, to, because they had already released a quarter of the money, so I told them, why don't you give them another half of the quarter? So then the rest, you can get other deserving communities. That is how it survived. So it survived for some time, but of course, I think in 2 or 3 years, it was already dead after I'd left. I was happy, but also sad because it didn't get to what I wanted it to do. But also happy because then I was vindicated. I don't know whether I should be happy or not.
You can be both.
Yeah. Then in between, I said, no, I think I'm going to do psychology and just learn how people think, how people look at life. Yeah. So eventually, I also went back to school and started looking at how do organizations work? What are these? How does, like, I see around and I see organizations and companies that are thriving. There must be something that makes them thrive. How did I start this and it did not thrive? What did I do or what did I not do that made it crumble? So that piqued my interest in bureaucracy, how things work, the psychology around the workplace. And I came to learn through mentors that there were things that were working. So I was approaching people. I approached the best of business minds. I spoke to them, the likes of the CEO of Equity. I spoke to them and they gave me perspectives. And I realized, oh no, I was so naive. If I had this kind of knowledge, I would have not left that place. I would have not abandoned that place. So I realized that perhaps I could contribute to other people, other organizations, other corporates, other CSOs to help them create structures and systems that will help them achieve their mandate and help them keep their mission and drive towards delivering what they wanted to deliver to their citizenry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's where you
That's
are
how I
now.
got myself. That's where I am now. That's how I got myself into those two things. I got myself into psychology and also organizational development.
I see.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I feel like with that story, you have touched on so much that I wanted to talk about when it comes to navigating our career life, the transitions that happens, how our early childhood experiences influence where we go and what we want to do, and what happens when you have been walking a certain direction your entire life and then now you have to pivot because of maybe a forced transition or a transition that you've chosen. I feel like with that story you have embodied the entire conversation about navigating transitions when it comes to our childhood or when it comes to our careers. Well, I like where you started with when you were young, as you were growing up, you wanted to be a professor and a priest. And what do you want to be is a question that we ask and get asked as we move through life. I was recording an episode with a guest earlier this week, and we were talking about that question. And one thing that helped me to realize is when we ask that question, we often anticipate one answer when a person answers. What do you want to be? A professor? What do you want to be? A doctor? Yada yada, all those things. So it can put us in this box of binary thinking as we approach our career lives of you need to choose one path to follow. So when we find ourselves having to transition or navigate, I did not expect this was not in the books. I should have been a doctor or a lawyer or a musician, but it does not open our wilds to thinking about combining skills that we have or thinking about how the different things that we are can coexist within one person. Like your career doesn't have to just one thing that you do. So I want to pick your mind more about how that question, but basically just how society around us as we are young shapes us to think about our professions and our careers and who we are expected to be.
It's an interesting question and a good one. By hindsight, I think just like your guest mentioned, it is one, for lack of another word, let me call it, it's the one injustice that we get as young people, or we give as old people to younger people.
Yeah.
Because then we get to box them. Now I know binaries are wrong.
Yeah.
Because we all live in a continuum, and that continuum spreads across. I look at that, and even as I wanted to be a priest and I wanted to be a professor, I was struggling because I would be asked, choose one of them. I was like, no, I can't be. I actually, from my younger days, I said, I can't be both. And the way I'm going to be both is that I'm going to be a priest. And then I know that in priesthood, I was going to get an opportunity to go through university. Then I'm going to teach.
Wow.
And interestingly, I think in between what I didn't mention is that then I came to teach, and I came to teach a subject that I did not initially think I would.
Wow. What did you teach?
I taught business at the university. And I thought when I was forced to do business management, that was something that because of my younger life's expectation of being a priest, I didn't think a priest would teach business. So when I got into a business class, I was like, no. But then I realized that when I got a chance to teach, and by some form of serendipity, I found myself being old. I didn't even expect that I was going to given a chance to teach. So after this microfinance thing, then somebody just says, this guy has been teaching at my community level and I have seen him do marvelous. So he thought I was already a university lecturer. And this was the vice chancellor of a university. He says, can you come to I want to coach you. Where do you teach? I told him, no, I don't teach anywhere. Yes, that is the continuum you're speaking about. So I got to teach. I taught business. Then after that, I got overwhelmed because of the number of students in business class. The marking was my challenge because in there some integrity aspects from my colleagues. I was like, no, why do you? It's not good to talk about this. I'm doing with academia, but I think some things are happening that are just wrong.
Yeah.
For example, I was doing an assignment for an international NGO, and I have my colleague from another university. Then I called him to help me do this assignment. It was a meta evaluation. And this guy, while we are from the field, he's on a long call and he is handing over marks on the phone. Oh, Jordana, give them a 5. George, give them 12. Give them this. So my interest was piqued. So when we stopped at a certain point to have lunch, I asked him, I hope that what I'm thinking in my mind is not what you are doing. Then the guy goes to just say, yeah, you know your students, so you know how they can perform.
Oh God.
I locked these things. I locked this. It's in my house, and I have the key here. So my colleague can't access it, but we have to submit the results to the department. Without saying explicitly what it is, I hope you get it.
I do.
That was so wrong. I left that guy in that center. I said he was not going to come with me anymore in that same vehicle. Because my reasoning was like, perhaps I could have given Jordana, and Jordana could have performed dismally in the last cut. But that Jordana could have been sick, Jordana could have been going some mental wellness challenges. I should not use the last experience to gauge the present. Yeah. I thought that this was just going to kill some careers, going to kill some ambitions, and it was just so bad. But I also realized that I was struggling because at a point I think I had 300 students, and I wanted to do the right thing. So I was looking at them one by one. And so I would sleep at 6 and wake up by 7. So 1 hour. So I was like, I think this is really not the place I want to be. I want to do something that speaks to my integrity, speaks to me wanting to be a priest. Yeah, and I think this is not priestly. In time, I left, but when I left, I got in the same place. I got a chance to do business incubation. So that was easier because I was working with the fewer students, and these were students who were very focused. They had gone beyond theory. They were already putting into practice some of the learnings from their theory classes. They had small businesses, and they just wanted someone to hold their hand to support them. So I ended up doing smaller classes, incubating ideas, supporting them to grow networks and to grow their businesses. I thought this is exactly what I want. And it sat well with my ambition to create systems and structures for people, for organizations, and for government to be able for excellence, for efficiency, for effectiveness. So I did business incubation for some time. I still do that on a consultancy basis for a few universities in here and also outside. Yeah. So really, back to your question, how does that question affect us? It really does. I remember in high school doing so many games, and teachers were like, if I was in football, I was excelling. I was being picked by a national league, a soccer league, the AFC that time, Gor Mahia. I was also playing badminton very well, the national level. So I played a few 3 or 4 games. So one time we are at the results board looking, then somebody behind me is looking at my name and they see my name somewhere up there. Which George is this? No, this guy cannot be doing badminton, cannot be doing drama, cannot be doing music, cannot be doing instrumentals to the national levels, and he's still up there. So I think these teachers are just being
Biased.
biased. Yeah, so when you ask that, so if someone asked me, I would have said I wanted to do athletics if I was in sport. But then there's so many other things that I can excel in, which would be restricted because of that mindset. Because we live what goes on in our mind. So if we feed our children a certain way of living, we program them, they will live that program.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've come to learn that children get programmed to the age of 7. So after that, we are only living our programs unless you wake up and start to use your conscious to reprogram what is in the unconscious. That is very challenging. For many people, it is a painful process. And many people would rather not go through that, would rather run with a program that has been set, and they would attribute failure or success to those programs.
Wow. I think
So
you
it's
have
important. Yeah, it's important to just let children be. I had to fight with one of my boys who wanted to do computer sciences. He wanted to do software. And the teachers were saying, you have to do medicine. And then he even went and filled his form. I had to go to that school. And I told the teachers, if you want your children to do medicine, pharmacy, and they were trying to convince me, oh, this boy is very bright. Why do you want to waste his life on computer science? I told them, no, this boy has been like this. This is what he has wanted. I see him at home doing that. I buy him these things. He tinkles with them and brings them back to life. And I think that's what he wants. I had to use my parental privilege to just retract that form and do another one. And the boy is fine. He's graduating this year and he's very fine.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's really amazing. That was one thing that I was going to bring up, the influences around us, especially parents, when you're making career choices. But let's put that in the parking lot, kidogo. We'll come back to it, I think, somewhere towards the end. The fact that I think I just want to highlight the fact that you've mentioned our programming when we are growing up, we fall back, like we operate from those systems. And then when we get to the place where those systems are not working for us, then it's now incumbent upon us to engage in the work of reprogramming. And as you have said, it is very painful. And I think that's now where I am right now in the process of reprogramming what happened when I was before 7. And it sometimes annoys me. I think lately I've just been feeling annoyed. I'm just like, now I get to do the reprogramming by myself. I'm like, this whole healing, growing, and how much it influences, and the fact that life is continuing. My employer is not going to be like, oh my goodness, you experienced that. I'm so sorry. Take a few days off work. Absolutely not. Yeah, like life continues to grow. Yeah, you still have to deliver even when you are experiencing life crises that happened and that are continuing to happen. So I truly do agree with you. The reprogramming is not an easy thing, but I think that investing in it is so much worthwhile. And what's coming up ahead, if we stick with the process of transition, yeah, it can help us to live a more fulfilled life rather than just the zombie moving through life doing whatever it is we're expected to do. And I mean, claps to you for standing up for your son, because a lot of parents will have fallen back to that thinking of, oh yeah, he's bright, he should definitely go and be a doctor, even when you see evidence that a doctor is not what this guy wants to become.
Yeah, sure. And you have mentioned something that, that's part of what I do right now, to help people either create communities or engage with others who have gone through the process of reprogramming. So someone like you who is going through that process, you benefit more if you joined a community or got in contact with someone who has gone through the reprogramming, and they would share with you experiences. Of course, experiences are different, but when you get to listen to someone else's approaches, their strategies, then it makes the pre-programming easier, just a little bit easier.
I see.
Because looking at ourselves in the mirror and telling ourselves the truth is the most difficult.
Listen.
And thinking perhaps is also the most difficult thing for human beings to do. You'd rather just go with the flow. And sometimes that flow is taking you elsewhere. You know it, your body can tell you, your mind can tell you, but because it is easier, because your subconscious mind, your ego is just there to help you to protect what you already have.
Yeah.
As if you realize that what you already have is not enough, then it is important to reach out to either collectives, to individuals who are already in that journey, and they could help you just to navigate that journey. And this is also what I tell the incubators, the business incubators, and any other organization that I deal with. Just find someone who has gone through this. Not in theory, perhaps. Some people learn in theory, but also if you can get people who have gone through this in the experientially, then it's possible that they have nuggets that will help you to see yourself for who you are. Stuff, but it is the best because
it is worthwhile.
It is what happens with the around us, our parents, our religion, our culture, our schooling makes us forget who we are.
True.
That is the programming. Those are the strategies of programming. So once we are programmed using those tools, it is very difficult because you want to look at a Bible text in a different manner. You go back to your programming. Yes. You should not do this because the Bible says. But if you became open and looked at yourself in the mirror, you would be able to critically look at what exactly is that verse talking about. What context is it talking about? Who was it written for? And how can you use it at this moment? Because sacred texts are timeless. You can use them at this moment. But you can use them for the good or for the bad, not only for other people, but also for yourself. If you look at yourself in the mirror and tell yourself you want to go back, remembering is two words in one. It is remembering. So you're going back to, pulling back yourself into what you had forgotten. You forget. So your school tells you this. When I was growing, I think the periodic table, I'm not sure about the numbers, but the periodic table right now has more elements than it was when I was growing. So if I was to insist that the periodic table only has 20 elements, then I'm so wrong. So that is education. I would insist that I started business, so I must only be in business. We count the number of people who went through schooling and they're doing the same thing that they went to school to study. I think they're less than 50%.
Wow.
Yes. If you look at your culture, cultures have changed. So if you're still holding onto a culture, for example, when I speak to people, I talk about two cultures, Maasai culture and Luo culture. So in the Maasai culture, women build houses. In the Luo culture, it's an abomination for a woman to build a house. Which one is right? They are all right based on your context. So if I'm going to have a wife in modern times who is earning more than me and is able to build a house, and I'm saying I'm not going to live in that house because it's built by a woman, what am I doing? But I have to reprogram myself to accept that those learnings, those lessons were for that time, and I have to live differently for me to be able to navigate today's challenges. And to realize that yesterday is gone. It is a bad check. It's cancelled. Tomorrow is a promissory note. You don't know whether it will be honored. Today is cash. Yes. So I take cash.
Wow.
It's so sure. This is already here. Yes. And I believe that eternity is only now. There's no other place because if I don't live tomorrow, I will not see it. So the way is that eternity is only today, right now. I cannot exist yesterday. I cannot exist tomorrow. I'm only existing today.
Today.
And I must do, if I'm going to experience myself fully, I ought to experience my fully by being open to the opportunities, to the perspectives that are reigning right now.
I could
it's fun.
listen. Yeah.
Careers, relationships, if we would just live like that, all those, there would be harmony in the workplace. There would be harmony because I would realize that Jordana's strength is different from mine. So why should I fight Jordana? And I would also realize that Jordana's presence here makes my life easier. Because if Jordana is not here and I have to do social media for this organization, it would be such a failure that the donors that I think I have written nice proposals that are giving me money would start to question whether I exist as an organization. So realizing right now, I need people and I have to reprogram myself to be able to coexist with these people is the greatest thing you can do for yourself in a career, in a relationship, in a community.
For sure. Wow. That is, I feel like these conversations feels validating. I think there can be a loneliness when you feel like you're experiencing something all by yourself. And as much as I know a lot of people experience shifts in career and all of this, but when I have the pressure to align with what I studied in school and never change my mind, it can feel very lonely. But to hear your perspective and even just the other perspectives I've heard from guests that I'm hosting on this series, these conversations just feel so validating because it helps me to realize that this is not just something that I am going through by myself. There's like a solidarity, like so many of us are going through this, but then just having the conversations, I think it helps for us to feel less alone, first of all, but also to share perspectives on what's shifting and how we can hold each other up. So thank you just for sharing with us those words of wisdom. I am curious I want to speak a bit more about identity and our careers, and especially when we start thinking about purpose and calling, and when you have been working in a place where you have had a job, and then now you start to realize, I don't know if this aligns with what I want to do or if this aligns with who I am. Now, when you get to this place of reckoning, I call it the moment of reckoning, where for example, for me, when I started to realize, I don't know if this degree serves what I want to do, because I'm doing computer information systems. I am back to finish this degree, but just because finishing what I started, and honestly, partly just so people stop asking me when I'm going to graduate. But I think when it came to the place where I realized that computer information systems and technology, software development, and all of those things are not necessarily what I want to be doing, but it threw me into an identity crisis like I had never thought would happen before, because it started with me asking myself, if I was on the verge of finishing college, like I had just a few requirements to be done. And then I was just like, sasa nikimaliza, what am I going to be doing? What is going to be my title? When my sisters would ask me, sasa this career that you're doing, ukimaliza utakuwa unaitwa nani? And I was like, I don't know, developer, software developer, network engineer. I have no idea. And so initially, I thought it was a career crisis that I just needed to figure out where in tech I belong. Because tech, as with so many careers, they can be so vast, and you can struggle to find the place where you belong and what comes naturally and what you want to invest your time and legacy in. So then initially I thought this is just a career crisis. I'm going to figure it out. I just need to attend virtual meetups, try figuring out things. And then it didn't work. But along the way, I realized this was more an identity crisis. It was more, I don't know who I am. I don't know what Jordana likes to do, what sets my heart on fire. And so it took me putting my degree on hold, engaging in a church program that my parents were fighting me to the tooth about, having my sisters constantly wondering, what happened to this one? You're so bright, you're wasting your potential, those kinds of things. Just so many questions. And also in the middle, I had an emotional meltdown. It was just so many things. I lost my grandma po katikati. But it took all of that for me to start figuring out, hey, this is actually more about identity. It is more, who am I actually? When I don't have the influences of my parents, my school teachers, the systems that have been created around me, the structures of school and college and degrees, who am I outside of these structures? Because the structures have not worked to inform me about my identity. And so that, especially in the quarter life, like 20s and 30s, where if you experienced that just before you've started your career. Yes, Sasa, now what am I going to be doing? So please talk to us about just that whole spectrum of identity, purpose, calling, and how it ties to our career and the decisions we make around our professional life based on that.
Wow. Everything boils down to identity. I think that is the programming. I can't just avoid to go back when you are young. That's the programming we've been given.
Yeah.
You'd find that personalities change. Personality is not constant. So you find that someone is given a tag when they're young, and I want to use this for girls, that they are, in my language, I don't even know how to translate that in English, but it's called Nyako Malelo. I don't know how to translate that. But I love my language, so I will leave it like that.
Okay.
Yes. So someone grows up, and because they have been given this tag of Nyako Malelo, they end up, of course, through experiences and changing their personalities, but yet they retain Nyako Malelo. It is not something that goes with them naturally, but they want to maintain that identity. And therefore, it becomes a problem for their relationships at work, at home, or wherever, in the community, in the church, in the mosque, because they identify with that. So identity really plays a big role in careers and all aspects of our life.
Yeah.
I was once doing a research on queer issues, LGBTIQ issues. And I had asked someone, he's so good. They are so good in data analysis. So I asked them to join me, just to do for me the data analysis. And when they just read, this is about LGBTIQ, they just said, and they had even signed a contract. It was a good contract. They just say, I'm not going to do this. This does not sit well with my faith. They were broke. They didn't have money. They were being evicted from their house. And this was a chance for them to analyze data, not even to interact with people who are LGBT. Just to interact with the data and say, these are the challenges they're going through. This is the number of people here. This is the number of people there. And they refused flatly. They didn't do it. Yes, because their faith does not. And that faith is an identity. Yes. So it's true. Identity is just, people have left jobs because they identify themselves as from an ethnic group. And therefore, they're not going to be employed by a certain ethnic group. Why? Because of the stereotypes that they have picked through their life about this ethnic. Or someone is at work and they are suspected of having stolen because they are from a certain ethnic group, and that certain ethnic group is identified stereotypically as thieves, which is not right. It's just a stereotype for what. But that identity then appears with a person's livelihood, a person's relationship. So our identity comes from our beliefs, and our beliefs, I will just go back to those 3 or 4 things. Our beliefs, where do our beliefs come from? They come from our family. They come from our education system. They come from our religion. They come from our culture. And they have such a bearing on, especially as you mentioned, those ages, the 30s. It becomes very difficult because in modern times, this is the time this person is settling down. They want to start up a family, struggling. They are from a certain ethnic group. They have married from a certain ethnic group. They are fighting about the name of the child. Should they bear the name of my grandfather or from the other? And you're just fighting inside your mind about something so simple. So when I start to ask people, Jordana, what are you? Who are you beyond the name? Because there are so many of Jordanas in this world.
Yeah.
That's something that you are given. So who are you? You need to identify who you are and what works for you. People sometimes do not take jobs because those jobs do not have a title. I don't use a title in any place. Yeah, sparingly. In places that I must use it, I do, but I don't use a title. I realize that titles have a way of either scaring people away from you, or drawing people to you, people who are not even supposed to be around you. So they are coming to you because of that title, because they want to use your title for their own benefit. Yes. Or it would draw people from you who would share with you wisdom.
Yeah.
But because they have heard about your title, they will never talk around you because they feel intimidated by that title.
Yeah.
And where does that come from? Beliefs and values. So they've been told, if you hear this person is called a doctor, a professor, oh, that one is too clever. So you'd be in the community talking to people. They have ideas, they have solutions to their problems, but they can't tell you because they are waiting for the professor to give them the solutions.
Yeah.
Yet you know that those solutions will not work because they are not contextual. They are things that you're thinking in your mind.
Yeah.
Yes, I struggled with that. Who are you now? Even now, I don't have a business card. People ask me, can you give me a business card? So where are you? In conversations in the streets?
Yeah.
Somebody will ask, oh, so you're with this organization last year. So where are you now? It's a common question on the streets.
Yeah.
You meet people you went to school with. Yes. What do you do? Where are you? Yes. So you could tell them, I have an office at KICC. No, but what are you doing? Which people are you with? Yes. So it's like you have to be with certain kind of people.
Yeah.
What are they looking for? They are looking for data to gauge you, to put you in a place. If you say, for example, now I'm with the UN, they put you in a certain place.
Yeah.
In a ladder of 10 ranks, now maybe you're at a 9. If you tell them I'm working with the city council, they put you at a 4. And if they realize that now you're working with the city council as a kanjo,
then 2 steps lower.
2 steps lower. So people are only they're only asking that so that they can see how to relate with you. And bringing that back home to you as a person, you also are struggling with these titles because you are wondering how you are going to relate with these people.
Yeah.
Yes. When they ask me, what am I going to tell them? But if you can go through the experience and understand that the title is outside of you, then you would be at peace with whatever and wherever you are, because that does not have to do with the title. Yes. If you're doing this podcast, it does not do with which school you went to, what you studied. You just need to understand that I want to do something around wellness. You just need to read a little bit about wellness, and then you can do a podcast. What is the purpose of higher education? I tell students and faculty, the purpose of higher education is only to give you an opportunity for critical thinking. Otherwise, what you are going to do from your higher education, with your higher education processes, result, could be done by someone who left school at grade 8.
Very true.
Yes, if they sat and just put their minds to it, they can do it. They don't have to go through 4 years, 6 years of lectures in the university. But the difference is that you are there with different people from different places, and you are learning from them. You're not only learning academics, you're learning how to interact, you're learning temperaments, you are learning these beliefs. You're getting to know that, I have a friend who, from their entire life before they joined university, I met them as a student. They had never met one particular community from Kenya. And they were like, so you mean, and I think it's just, there are stereotypes in Kenya. So I'll just mention, this guy was hungry, and then there was this particular Kikuyu guy who they were living with in the same quarters. And this Kikuyu guy would make sure that he gets supper when his parents didn't send money. So one time he came to me and asked me, so are you really sure this guy is a Kikuyu? How?
Gosh.
In our conversation, what I realized that the personification of a Kikuyu in his mind was so far from what it is. He didn't even, I think it was not even a human being. These people were just very different. They were not, you should not even interact with them. So even when he was taking from this guy, he was very careful. Yeah, that this could just not be well met. This could be some scheme to, yeah, I don't know what. Yeah. So that's about identity, titles and identities. When you say you are going through a career crisis, is it a career crisis or an identity crisis?
Very true.
Yes. If you go back to yourself and look at yourself, it is painful, as I mentioned, but you realize that it is just an identity crisis. I have been a banker. I have someone close to me. They were a banker for some time, and then they lost that job. So they used to leave the house. They didn't want their family to know that they had lost the job. So they just go and sit in town and say they're a banker. So in church, they are still saying they're a banker. And because we have expectations of the society, the church is asking themselves, why is this guy not contributing? So he's a bad person. So he starts to look bad in the face of people. People start to stigmatize them because it's like they have changed themselves. Yet the reality is he no longer has a job. What is this guy protecting? Protecting the identity, yes. They only protect the identity in the eyes of people around us. So yeah, it is important for us to realize that people around us are also going through their own things. I should go through my things honestly, openly with myself. I don't have to open up to other people, but if there's a chance that there's someone I want to open up to, yes, then it is also important to open up to the other person because they would give you a perspective that you're not able to offer yourself.
Absolutely. Yeah, I see. And
that's sorry.
I wanted to mention something else. Yeah, but this will shift us into a different thing. If you have additional thoughts, you can.
Yeah, I think I just wanted to finalize by saying when you look at systems, also systems are built on beliefs. They're systems that people identify with. So you go to an organization, even a government department, they tell you, no, we don't do that here. Yeah,
we don't do
you're
that
bringing
here.
an innovation. Yeah, you bring an innovation that would spark the growth of that system. So just realize that even when you are getting into a crisis because the system is not allowing you to thrive, there are other systems that can allow you to thrive.
Yeah.
So you don't have to stick to the system that holds certain beliefs.
Yeah.
You can have systems that are aligned to your beliefs, your philosophies, and therefore you should not look at that as a crisis. You should not look at that as a setback, but as an opportunity for you that the universe is presenting so that you explore your potential.
I see. Wow. Let's talk a bit more about changes and shifts. One thing I have learned in the process of doing this series is the difference between change and transition. And I have learned that change is most usually an external shift. For example, relocating, heartbreak, losing people sometimes to death, changing jobs, changing industries and fields, growing up. Just growing up, our body changes. It's usually external. Yeah. But transition is our internal and more psychological process of adapting to something that has changed. And transitions are usually longer and messier, and they can feel destabilizing a bit more. And I think just knowing that subtle difference, I have realized that sometimes we expect that the transition will take as long as the change will take. So let's say even just like in work, I just think because I lost my job and I got a new job, good, I'm good to go. And then if we find that we are struggling with something like grieving the loss of a job, even before you get a new one, even after you have gotten a new one, and sometimes even changes that we have anticipated, if I wanted to change jobs, that is something that I have anticipated. If I wanted to get married, that is maybe a change that I am anticipating. Yeah, but sometimes even those anticipated changes that are good, so to speak, will still bring about a sense of grieving because you're leaving behind something. I was just thinking this morning, if let's say someone moves higher to a higher rank in an organization, and especially when you began, you said those like change very abruptly and like over a short period of time, you can be getting better pay, maybe you're working better hours, but you might realize that you had built a community with the people that you started working with. So when you when your role changes, it's good. You're doing what you wanted. Maybe it aligns more with your values, or you have expanded your skills and it aligns more with that. But it is coming with this unanticipated sense of loss because you're losing a community that you had already built, first of all. And then sometimes even like changes in career, especially if you're going up, let's say you have a better salary, so you can access places that the people around you still can't access. So like I was hearing someone talk about how they got a better job, like a way better job than they were doing, which is something that they had pursued. But when it came, and especially because they were younger, now the people around her were still like starting off. So she had more access to people who are like people you would expect maybe you start hanging out with maybe nauko 30s, like mbele sana in your career. Yeah. So you have access to more people, and now she could afford things that her friends couldn't afford. So she overcompensated by now when she's going out with them. She brings her to her now new location, but she's not the one who is sponsoring the drinks. She's now who is, if they are traveling, she's the one who is now, So there's like a level of overcompensation, whether like a change is, even when a change is good. Can you speak to us a bit more about when shifts happen and just that process of grieving what has been and allowing us to feel the loss, and how we can deal with that limbo of something new. I'm just in this new thing. I'm acclimatizing, but I have already left the past behind me. So it's no man's land of sorts.
Thank you. I don't know whether I read it somewhere or I usually just say it. I don't know where I got it. Something I got in between. You are as happy as you are because you're happy with yourself. No one can make you happy. If you are unhappy with yourself, if you're unhappy alone, you are not going to be happy in other people's company. Actually, you might be the one who is going to ruin the happiness.
The people's happiness.
Because everything is energy. The energy that you harbor in you will determine how you handle changes and how you handle transitions. Transitions require transformation.
Oh, yeah.
Transitions require transformation. And because we are programmed, and therefore transitions are more difficult because you don't want to transform yourself into another identity that you do not know. And that goes back to my analogy of yesterday, today, and tomorrow. Because you still hold on to the fact that you are young and therefore you are not able to relate with older people.
Yeah.
What are you doing? You're holding to an identity of youthfulness. Who tells you that you cannot get people who are chronologically older than you, yet very youthful in their thinking, youthful in their perspective, and youthful in their approach to work?
Yeah.
It is the programming you have been fed. So it still goes back to ourselves. This is the only person you know. Well, if you don't know them, then who are you going to know?
Yeah.
If you cannot help this person walk through the changes, how are you even going to see the changes themselves? And that is the reason why change is resisted. The only person you know is you, and therefore we must strive to know ourselves better, to be able to interact with the outside, because change is in the outside. If it is not congruent with what we feel inside, we resist it. So for people to, if you want to support people to change, you have to help them see how it is congruent with themselves, with their aspirations, with their identities, with their beliefs.
Yeah.
This is the work that is difficult in organization development.
Can you imagine?
People from different worlds, different works, different faiths, they come together, they want to do this, but yet they have very different beliefs, different identities. So the work of leadership in organizations is to do that. It is very difficult. So I think it's even more difficult if you are a leader, because if you are a leader and you don't even know yourself, then you can see the results. So yes, I think I would just attribute it back to identity, beliefs, values, and this is what will create. You mentioned a word there, that transitions are messier.
Yeah.
If we believe so, yes, it's going to be messy.
Oh, okay.
Yes. They're difficult. If we believe so, they're going to be difficult. Yes.
See.
When I speak about this, I go back to sacred texts. And I think in all the sacred texts that I've read, if you go to Bhagavad Gita, you will see it. If you go to Quran, if you go to the Bible, if you go to the Torah, you'll find the word I am. I am who I am. So who are you?
Who are you?
If you say you are in a messier phase of your life, just call it to your reality. And it's going to feel, you're going to be messier. If you declare that I am transitioning, I'm not sure about things, but this is how I would like them to come about. That is what will come about.
I see.
And mostly we struggle because we are more of programmed to look at what we don't want, how things should not happen. Yes. And the much more time we spend on thinking of how things should not happen, the more they happen that way. Why? Because our thoughts are strong, our thoughts are prayers, our thoughts are energy, and they attract similar energies. The prayers are answered based on what we have asked. So that which you don't want, and you're telling God, I don't want this, and God is just saying, yes, you don't want it. So what do you want God to do?
What do you want?
Tell God what you want, and then that will come. Yes.
I see.
Yeah. So in transitions, it's important for us to look at ourselves and say, this is what I want. And me getting from this, actually, you're identifying with the past. If you have lost a job and you're still you're crying about it, it's the loss right now. The loss is in the past.
In the past?
Where is the past? Can you touch it?
No.
It's only an imagination. If you feel like this loss of job will ensure that I don't get rent for next month, when is rent being paid next month? Has it reached? No.
Not yet.
Where is it? It is in my imagination. So both the past and the future are in our imagination. And the way you imagined them is how they are going to come up in reality in our life. So if you could just focus for right now, yes, I've lost a job. What can I do?
Yeah.
To get the next dime? Yes. And this is difficult because you have already identified yourself as a doctor. So if there's an opportunity for you to go and teach some people in a school about biological changes in their body, which you understand better than the high school teacher, you will not go to that. Why? Because you are a doctor and you will not have the money. But if you realize that right now, this is the opportunity that presents themselves, let me go and teach here as I figure out, then you're able to pay the rent.
Yeah.
Yeah. As you figure out how to get the next assignment as a doctor. But you are also giving these students an opportunity to understand biology better than if they were taught by their teacher. Because you can give them perspectives that their teacher would not be able to.
Will not have, yeah.
And therefore, you also get an opportunity to learn about yourselves through this young people.
True.
So you grow. That makes transitions easier. That's the analogy that I give for perspective in that.
Yeah. Yeah. How we frame our mind when we are moving through transitions.
Yes.
Yeah. I think that's very profound to, even as we are grieving or mourning what we have lost, to ensure that it is not coming in the way of where we want to go next, and giving ourselves the opportunity, or giving ourselves the, giving our futures more focus and realizing
Yes.
that is, we can focus on where we are right now and how we want to move forward. I think that's very profound. That's definitely a shift in perspective about how I am handling my own transitions. Yeah, thank you very much for that. I think one thing that I am curious to know about, especially because you are a person, you're involved in helping organizations to set structures that can help them to function. So I'm wondering, how can organizations, okay, yeah, both the people that are working in the organizations and the individuals, how can we, both from an organization perspective or just like from an individual perspective, better set ourselves for those transition processes? So how can organizations better support their employees when they're going through transitions? Organization leadership is changing, for example, or just the industry itself is changing. They're trying something new, or they're moving in a new phase. How can they better support the employees? But also me as the person who is working there, it's also incumbent upon me to ensure that I am moving with just how things are changing. So how can we approach those two?
Mm. Thank you. One thing I wanted to mention before that is I got it from your conversation, is that the other thing that makes transitions difficult is that some of us decide to deny the feelings. You're feeling sad and you try to suppress the sadness. Whatever you resist will persist.
Will persist, yeah.
So allow yourself to experience those emotions. Allow yourself to feel sad. Put even voice, say, right now I am feeling sad. Yes. When I wake up, I'll be feeling happier. Yes. Do not resist. If you resist,
it will only persist.
Your next question is about what could we do to help people with transitions and the changes that come about.
Yeah.
Both as leaders in organizations and also as employees. First of all, employees are as good as their leadership. So it's important that the leader understands themselves. When the leader understands themselves, they help the individuals in these organizations to understand themselves.
I see.
And beyond understanding themselves, the leader needs to also to create structures for support, a framework that individuals can use. You may not be able to know everyone, but if there are frameworks that they can use, it's easier for them to then be able to go through those processes and get to know themselves and how they align with changes, how they absorb shocks, they move, they meander around in difficult moments. One structure that I know in my experience as supported organizations, one is flexibility. In rigid systems, where, for example, just about timing, say you have to be here by 8 and you have to leave by 5, that in itself becomes a challenge, because there are people who are able to meet that. There are people who are not able to meet that. The people who will be forcing them to meet that, yet they will be present physically in their bodies, but they will be not mentally present.
Yeah.
You need to ask yourself as a leader, are they more profitable for me being physically present or mentally and emotionally present?
Yeah.
You need to make that choice. But for you to do that, you need to know Jordana, George, they are different personalities, and this is their peak hours for work. This is how they perceive things. And when I want to create clarity for Jordana, it is different from creating clarity for George.
Yeah.
So it is a more difficult work, but it works. All the successful leaders in the industry that I have had a chance to speak to, I have done that, and that's why the systems are taking. It's important to do that. It's important to create systems that allow people to express themselves without feeling that they will be victimized. Then in this way, people are able to tell you how they feel about the changes that are coming.
Yeah.
To suggest ways of navigating those changes for themselves and for others within the organization. But if that is absent, people are going to be talking on their own and creating their own stereotypes, creating their own narratives, and those narratives may work well for the changes that you are doing. The other thing is that changes bring about, we spoke about it earlier, changes bring about identity crisis. we must be aware of that. And when we introduce that change, we must think ahead how it's going to affect each individual. And in terms of identity, in terms of their beliefs, in terms of their, and help them to see it, to see what is in it for them. And also to realize that the change may be a change that will not allow me to continue to be in that place.
I see.
And prepare me for exiting that place in an honorable way so that I continue to become an ambassador of this organization that I have left.
Yeah. Yeah.
The other now about what employees could do, they should know themselves. They should know why they are in that organization. They should be clear what they have brought on the table. It's something that I do in interviews. I ask people what they're bringing on the table beyond their professional capacities. And that is very important, especially when you are talking about senior management, leadership level staff. They need to know themselves. They need to know what they're bringing. They need to know how long they want to be there. They need to know what challenges they want to introduce to stir the water so that the water become better.
Yeah.
Yes. And they also need to tell me they're irreducible minimum. Someone used it here.
Yeah.
In the political arena, they're irreducible minimum. Yes. What can they not do completely? Individuals need to know what the organization does. Unfortunately, because of the employment scenario, sometimes there are no jobs, so you just pick a job.
Yeah.
But of course, that is going to be a recipe for chaos for you at an individual level. If you pick a job that does not relate to your identity, your beliefs, then it's going to be a problem you adjusting. Employees should be sure that this is what I want. And this organization, I share their philosophy. This organization, I share where they want to go. I have the resilience to be able to handle challenges that are going to come, anticipate a few challenges, and also think of how you're going to help the organization get around those challenges.
I see.
But above all, be open. We can't know what you want. We can't know what affects you if you do not tell that to us.
Yeah.
You can't tell that to the CEO. Tell that to someone who can tell the CEO. Tell that to someone over tea. Tell that to someone in that environment. A person who operates in that environment understands that environment.
I see.
What sometimes we do as employees, which does not work, is to make it gossip. I think grapevine is a very good source of leadership information in an organization. So you should allow grapevine to happen. And as a leader, find ways of channeling that information to your desk so that you can use it well. Because some people will say things in the grapevine that they will never say in an official meeting. Yeah. Employees, get someone you can talk to within the organization who understands. And when you talk, don't complain. Ask for honest feedback. Yeah. Yes. Ask for honest feedback. When I used to be employed, I used to do during appraisal. I used to do my own appraisal. So I would send at the dealership level, I would send this anonymously to people from all ranks in the organization. Would get perspectives from the person who is the hospitality person who is sweeping the floor, making sure that we are clean, person who feeds us in the kitchen, up to my deputy. I would get to know what they think about me in certain areas. So I choose parameters that I want to ask in the organization. And that feedback was just so overwhelmingly helpful. Me seeing myself in the eyes of other people and therefore adjusting who I am in relation to the vision of the organization that I lead.
I see. Wow, that was very proactive.
Yes. I wish organizations could adopt such things.
I see. That has been very helpful. I think just to bring back our conversation from the parking lot about in this age of our lives where our parents, okay, I think it gets to a certain point where if you want to make a different choice in your career and where you want to go, it's all on you go with God and do whatever
Yeah,
you want. But like in these earlier stages, when you're choosing the career you want to pursue in university, and just the way our education system is set up is you can choose what career you want to do in university, but then the placement board for the government can place you in a location you have never heard about to do a course that you have never even that has never even crossed your mind. Sometimes to your own good, because the career I did was not something that I would ever have thought about, but it has had its own advantages to my life. But sometimes it can be to someone's detriment, because now the process of starting to find something different or recalibrating to what you actually wanted to pursue can be hell. It can be such a difficult process. But that can also, it can be sometimes what the government has chosen for your education systems. But when it comes to navigating now that with close relationships, so let's say parents, or even when it's like in at some point in your life, maybe like a spouse, or you want to reskill, you want to do a different degree or something like that. The influences around you, it can be like, not really, this is not what you want to do. But let's stick on the issue about parents. And I'm not paying for you to do that degree. If you want to do that, pay for yourself. Or this is a waste of money, this is a waste of your potential. One of my guests recently said, our parents always want the best for us, but sometimes even they might not know what it will take to be that best. So they can give you the pressure for you to climb the ladder with very large steps, and not realizing that what you are doing, these small steps, maybe volunteering for an organization or taking a job where you're not being paid that much. It can be the small steps to the best that they want for you. But when you start doing those, when you start taking these to small steps, or let me take this course to help me move up the ranks, she told me her parents told her she was wasting her potential because she was volunteering. She was wasting her potential, or she's wasting her time. And when she got a job that she actually wanted to do, something that could just in the meantime pay the bills, because it was far away, the parents said, absolutely not, that's not going to happen. Just that conflict can make navigating our career lives so difficult. As a parent yourself, what can you speak to that from parents who are listening, and how can they support their children when they are going through, if they are adult children, this phase where I don't rely on them that much, but also I'm still very much connected with them to help me navigate things through life. So when there's conflict with them, it feels very difficult to navigate that whole space. Yeah.
thank you. I want to start by stating that parenting has no school, but
Yeah.
also there are parents who themselves need parenting. They are not ready for parenthood. And when you go back to our traditional societies, the grandfathers, the grandmothers, the older people are around younger children. And that helped to help the children to navigate themselves and see life for what it is in the present and future. Because the parent is so busy parenting and is not able to see the child from a different perspective. But the grandparent, because they are not so busy involved in the minute-to-minute life of this child, is able to look at that child from a perspective and say, yes, this one is going this way. This looks like their natural trajectory. And therefore, you found that in the traditional system, people found themselves in the right career. Yes. We still see that in other cultures right now. Asian culture, it is still very vibrant, and it is working because they live in as a community. So every age group, you'll find them in the same location. When the colonial masters came to us, they dismantled that system, and they told us that nuclear family is the only type of family that is best. And that is what perhaps is one of the reasons why we are facing those challenges.
Yeah.
So careers came, and these careers were, our education system is structured so that you become an employee.
Yeah, true.
Therefore, even when your parent is proposing a course, they are looking for an opportunity for you in the future in the workplace.
Yeah.
So they are going to ask you to become a doctor because a doctor earns more. Going to ask you to become a teacher because a teacher earns more and is respected in the community. If you tell them you want to do sports, they're wondering what that is. because there's no place you are going to be employed as a sports person. So I think it is much to do with that background.
Yeah.
So in our time, it was joint admissions board. We call it JAM. Now my kids tell me it is called COOP.
Yeah.
So they would place you wherever. And they try to place you based on the aggregate marks you got. They have their own data dynamics to place you wherever they place you, which sometimes is good, sometimes is not. But going back to parents, I think the thing is don't take that job. Don't take that course because that course has no job. That is the basis. They want you to be a source of support for them in the future. And therefore, they are as interested in your career as you are. They want you to be self-reliant, but they also are looking forward to support from you.
Yeah.
So young people should realize that their parents' stake is in their career, and therefore that is why their parents are forcing them to do things they think they should. So if you understand it from that perspective as a young person, you don't get frustrated by them trying to force you to do certain things.
Yeah.
You find a way to help them understand that the one that you are choosing also has a future in their life. That way you create harmony as a young person.
I see.
Yeah. Of course, also then identity. So I was a teacher and I want a few of my children to become teachers. I want them to continue my legacy. Yeah. So a parent would be pushing a child to become who they didn't become or who they became and think that they did not reach the epoch of that area. They want continuity through their child. Yeah. So if a child realizes this, then a different approach could be used by this child to convince their parent that I have this understanding and this is also going to make you proud as a teacher in the past.
Yeah.
Physical proximity. Yeah. So parents, for my mother, I'm still a child. I'm 50, but I'm still a child for them.
Yeah.
So even when I travel, recently I was going to Johannesburg, and then they were asking me, like, are you sure that place is safe? Did I hear that place is very cold? The last time you were there, you came back with a flu. Have you warm clothing? So for them, you are still a child. So you can imagine a teenager, just someone who is entering their 20s, going very far from their parents. The parents would like, can you? When my daughter, one of my daughters, was going to school, they went to Kisii University. But the mother was like, why don't you go to Nairobi? Can Kisii have a university? I think universities should be Nairobi. So yeah. Or sometimes, why are you going to Moi University? Go to the UON, the University of. So I think it's all identity, but also the aspect of detachment from people and feel the feeling of safety for your child. So these are factors that I have seen during my career in academia come in between students and their parents. What I usually tell parents is that I mentioned it earlier in this podcast that higher education prepares people for critical thinking. And what they're going to do with that degree might be very different from what that degree is. But if you push them to go to that degree that you want and they refuse, or they go there and because they are frustrated, they do not experience the university life, they're going to come out useless. So they have come from university, they have graduated, but they don't know what to do with themselves because you interfered with their, and especially that is the time that you're identifying yourself, you're putting yourself, you are thinking of how your adult life is going to be. So if it is messed up by you going to a course that you didn't like, one, you're going to fail in that course. That's where students get soups, many, what I'm using colloquial. Soup is what? Supplementary.
Supplement,
Yes. Yeah. So they get it because they're struggling. This is not the course I want. So it's important for parents and to understand children in that manner. I also tell parents some I mentioned a few principles. One, you need to be ready for parenting. Two, some parents, you must ask yourself, are you ready for parenting, or you also need parenting?
Yeah.
Uh, yes. Then three, just remember that these children, the only difference between you and them is that you came here first.
Yeah.
The rest are the same. They are human beings. They have brains like you have. They have ambitions. They have aspirations like you have. So they are also individuals on their own. So you need to, your work is to cultivate a place for them to thrive the way they are, not to live you, not to, controlling parenting, helicopter parenting does not help. It only aggravates things. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's very insightful. Thank you. Thank you really so much for helping with that. I think when you said for us realizing that parents have stake in the game, so your career is not just about you, that your parents have a stake in the game. Most of the time, the stake is usually thought of as I paid for your school fees or the financial aspect right now, but thinking about it like more long term, I think that's one thing that I have had like a struggle with because I try to negotiate their stakes out of the game and be like, this should be about me. It's me who's going to the classes. But realizing that over and above, even just like financially, even their reputation,
Reputation. Yeah.
their reputation is built on it. And it is it is a neutral thing. It's not necessarily a bad thing. It is a fine thing. But the way you take it can make it a negative thing or something that you can actually negotiate. So I think the role of communication there, I think, really comes in handy, don't you think?
Exactly. How you communicate it is what is the difference.
Yeah.
The difference. Your parent, they are growing old. Their insurance, the health insurance is going to be exhausted. They are thinking that you will be able to give them something to pay for their health insurance. If so they are at stake. Just recently, I was talking to a parent who had come to my home, actually literally crying that their child is going to, and their child, you've just spoken about communication. This boy told their mother that they were going to study, and and in my language, it looks so bad. They're going to study to become Otoyo. And Otoyo is a mortician. And the father is an elder in a church. So when you mentioned identity, I just revisited my mind that this guy thinks like, you are going to be handling dead people. And I am an elder in the church. What are you telling me? So this guy came to me crying. He wanted to understand what mortician is. And then the boy just told him, Otoyo. He couldn't even think of it. Yeah. But anyway, we spoke together, and he's fine with it now. He now realizes that it's just work like any other. So he struggled.
Yeah.
So they have a step. Yeah.
And more grace to you, parents. Sometimes I usually think about what it takes to actually be on the receiving end of now dealing with me. I'm like, even I feel like I can't deal with me and how my mind is changing, things are changing around me. So I think for me, growing older has looked like growing in my capacity for compassion for my parents and realizing, as you have said, parenting has no school. You can learn from other parents. There's a lot of things that you can be taught, but every child comes with their own, they need to be parented even
Different.
sometimes differently. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what worked for one child might not work for the other one. Yeah.
I have many of them, and I can tell you for sure, each of them very different.
Yeah.
What helped me? You asked something at the start of this question. What should parents do? What I do with mine, done with most of my children, is to tell them, take them away from employability perspective, and that don't do this course because it's going to. The world is changing very fast, so you might say that you're going to do this course because there's going to be a job. Yet, by the time you're graduating,
AI could be doing what you studied to do for 4
doing what you
years.
started to do. Yes, exactly. Yeah. AI already is doing it.
Yeah.
So study because you feel nice in it, you feel the passion for it, and then you can decide what to do when you leave school.
Yeah.
And even as they do that, I have one who's doing actuarial science. So I tell her what you need to do, even as you're doing this course, because I know you have some time in your hands. So you can also look for something else. Like, for example, how she identified accountancy. So she's enrolling in doing CPA. So by the time she's done, she has her actual science degree, but she also has a CPA. So then that opens more opportunities
For sure.
for them. The other one has done education, biology and home science. And I was telling them, if you could merge this with special education. Yes. So that then gives them more potential, increases their potential, increases their value in the marketplace.
Yeah.
So just talking to these children of ours and exploring with them what possibilities they think and how they think that is going to look like in the future, and help them to shape in their mind how that future will look like, but also help them to see the realities of the future, that we might be thinking that it will look like to look color red in the future, but it might also be yellow. What will you do with it if it presents itself?
Yeah.
So that helps the children to go back and think for themselves that this is then, I need to put this in perspective. Yes. I pick a study area. Absolutely. I don't want to call them career areas. In my parlance, I call them study areas. But when I call them career areas, I'm constricting this person that they graduate, they have to go through this particular area.
Absolutely. Thinking about it as a study area. Yeah. Two questions as we finalize this discussion. We started with a question of that we have asked and been asked of, what do you want to be? And I think we are realizing that it's a limiting question. What other questions do we think we could ask in place of that? Instead of just to spark imagination and to help people start to figure out what they want to do.
I ask children, first of all, who are you? You and your name. Do you know who you are? Yeah. They're young, they think, what an adult question. But now when I get feedback from them, they're like, what you used to ask us has made me different. Because when I interact with my peers in the university, I think they don't know who they are. They don't know what belief they want to hold.
Yeah.
From my experience, and I'm not saying this is the best, I let children choose, including religion, including their beliefs, anything. They don't have to go to my church. I have a girl who says they just want to go to a Sikh temple, and I take them there. Started taking them there when they were young. They go there and they experience their own spirituality there. And I don't see a difference. They're just like me as a Christian. So that is actually, I've mentioned two things. So one, they need to identify themselves. They need to identify a belief, and that should be free to let them identify a belief that they want, because that speaks to what they want to contribute in the world.
Yeah.
Which is next question. What do you think you want to contribute in the world as you grow up into adulthood? What problems do you see in the world that you think you want to address when you become older? It is so nice, and I record them. So when they are older, I play those recordings for them, and that helps them to clarify. And they change midway. Some of them change. But I wanted, like this girl who did education, always wanted to be a nurse. But I took them to a hospital a few times, and I observed them relate, the doctors and the patients. That's now when they were informed thinking. I was telling them, are you really sure you want to tackle the issue of people who are sick in the hospital? I'm like, I don't think that's what I want to do.
I see.
Because I just see them and I shudder. Yes. So if I'm going to do this as a nurse, I think I'm not going to be doing justice to that profession and to myself and to the people. So she chose differently. Yeah. And I appreciate that. She was very happy. She has graduated already. She was very happy during that period. She was just home science all through.
I see.
So who are you? Choose a belief. What do you want to contribute to the world? What challenges do you see that you want to address when you get to adult?
Wow. I think I'm going to write those questions and put them somewhere in my living room and even in my bedroom, just around my house. Who are you? What is your most important belief? What problems do you see around you that you want to solve, and how do you want to contribute to the world? I think they are such guiding questions, and it's you can ask them today and ask them like always, and almost like a birthday ritual. Like I think I can make even that a birthday ritual just to see how my answers change.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I'm gonna do that. Yep. So I think you've given me a birthday gift without me even asking for it. Thank you very much.
When is your birthday?
Coming up in a few months on 15th of July.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Thank
All
you.
right. Thank you so much, George, for your time. I truly do appreciate you setting aside time to share with us your wisdom. This discussion has felt so refreshing. I am so glad that I get to learn from you this way. One thing I like about having this podcast is I get to have conversations with people on levels I wouldn't have like in a normal day-to-day basis. So this is so refreshing. I'm so happy to have picked your mind about these issues and heard about your experience. Now I know a few more things about you that I did not know. So thank you so much. I truly appreciate you being here with me today.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you also and sorry for skipping the timing. I have
It's
been
okay.
on this has been a busy time, but thank you so much for the patience, but also thank you for, as a young person, taking this initiative. I think, should I say that? Yeah, I think this is an area you are contributing to the world in the best way.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, so even as you push yourself to finish your schooling,
Mm,
remember this is just an opportunity for you to think critically how you
yeah.
want to expand wellness. Because
Mm,
wellness, what does not need wellness? Everything needs wellness.
yeah.
I tell people that God is everywhere. As a Christian, God is omnipresent.
Mm,
And I ask the question, like, where is God not? God is in the toilet. God is on the roof. God is in the chair that you are sitting. God
mm,
is literally everywhere.
yeah.
God is in the tree. If the tree stopped producing oxygen today, I think the entire human race will die.
Yeah.
So if God gave us breath, through what? Through the tree. If someone says the tree is God, I accept that is God manifesting themselves in the tree, giving me oxygen and taking away my waste, carbon
Mm,
dioxide.
mm,
Yes. This chair, if I don't treat it well, it will break. And when I sit on it, I will fall down. So I
yeah.
must treat it with love. So thank you for doing this, for creating opportunity for people like us, for the number of guests that you are talking to share with the world their experiences and their thoughts. I hope that that is going to also touch other people's lives and help them create clarity on who they are, what they want to do, their beliefs, what they want to contribute to the world, the
Yeah.
challenges that they want to address.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Wow, it gives me such a perspective. It gives me such a different perspective on the work that I do, allowing people to share their contributions to the world. What
The
a
channel,
gift.
the channel, and the
Yeah.
channel. I tell you, Jadona, if you didn't do computer, you said computer science,
Yeah, computer information systems.
computer information systems, maybe you would not be doing this.
I think so. Yeah, it is such an integral part. Like that
What
experience is
what you're
very
saying
integral.
is
Mm.
how to use technology to share information.
Yeah.
Essentially, that is computer information system. For me, yes. So that is exactly what you're doing. So you're not very far from what you studied.
I think so.
Ah,
Yeah, they have, yeah, like the experiences have found a way to coexist.
yes, yes.
Mm.
You don't need those theories. Tell what you are going to do.
Mm.
You're not going to need those theories, those calculations to do your course. You don't
Mm.
need them. Actually, you don't need them anyway. You just need to understand. You just need them so that you understand how this system works. But what are you bringing to the system so that the system can output? That's what you're doing. So I don't see you far away from what sharing.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate that. All right, I think we're going to wrap it up here. Thank you again, George, for your time, and have a lovely end of the week.
Sawa. Na wewe pia have a lovely end of the week.
Yeah.
Speak soon outside of this.
Yeah, and on the podcast again some other time.
Other time. Yeah.
Sawa. Ciao.
Bye.
Wasn't that amazing? Thank you so much for tuning in to part 1 of my conversation with George Onyango. I am so glad that you could make that time. I would like to hear your thoughts. So please leave a comment in the comment section below. Tell me, what are your thoughts? Highlight anything that you have learned, anything that you want me to speak about again in an upcoming conversation on this series, or just tell me where you're listening from. Anything that would help me to know more about you, I would really like to hear that. Thank you for being here, friend, and I can't wait to catch you in part 2 of my conversation with George. The Wellness Junction podcast is a production of Pamoja community-based organization. It is supported by the Northwestern University Access to Health Project with production assistance from Studio Spain Media Group. Please take a moment to follow the Wellness Junction podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, or wherever you're listening. To learn more about how Pamoja CBU has impacted young people's lives over the past 15 years, please visit our website at www.pamojapamoja.org or our social media pages that are linked in the show notes. I have been your host, Jordana, and I can't wait to connect with you in the next one. Thank you for being here.